This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
"13 people confirmed dead following a vehicle accident. Deputy opposition leader calls PM to address ethnic clashes. Police to take stringent measures on combating violence." Good evening, this is National EMTV News. I'm Godwin Eki. Thank you for joining us. 13 people have been confirmed dead and a dozen others are fighting for their lives at Mount Hagen General Hospital following a nasty vehicle accident in Western Highlands Province yesterday. The incident happened at Tomba in Tambul Nebilia Electorate.
According to John Kuti, a security officer of Western Highlands Provincial Health Authority, who went with the ambulance driver to retrieve the bodies, 13 were killed instantly following the collision of a Land Cruiser and a PMV 25-seater bus.
Confirmed deaths, 11 blood bila karim gamram. I can mock. Okay.
He added that it was a very nasty accident which took place at what is known as Fillings Mountain to most people traveling this highway to Enga Province as well as Southern Highlands via Tambul.
Kind of last time I'm same area, I'm taking 17 plantai and working on some. Now I'm taking the confirmed death.
Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
Deputy Opposition Leader Douglas Tomuriesa has called on the Prime Minister James Marape to address ethnic clashes in the nation's capital, Port Moresby. His call comes after reports of recent killings and lawlessness in the city by different ethnic groups, which have caused fear to city residents and affecting normal operations of businesses. Deputy Opposition Leader Douglas Tomuriesa has asked the Prime Minister, the Minister for Internal Security and the Defence Minister on what steps they are going to take to make Port Moresby safe. He asked the Prime Minister directly if he was aware of the situations happening in the city that involve certain ethnic clashes and the slackness of the government to address these issues.
Are you aware that the majority of the ethnic clashes in the city involves tribesmen from Taripori, people from your own electorate, unfortunately? We acknowledge that my comments does not include many of our citizens from Hela province in particular.
In response, Prime Minister James Marape said safety in Port Moresby and the country is of paramount interest of the government. In regards to the opposition leader labelling Taripori people of recent clashes in the city, PM Marape said it is not only the Taripori people causing all the lawlessness in the city.
Whether it is Taripori, and I accept the fact that they got good opposition leader, deputy opposition leader has labeled Tari and Pori people in his raw naked form. I take that labeling, but let me also say it is not all Tari Pori people who are engaged in these sort of activities in the city or in the country.
Tomuriesa further said in order for investors to come into the country, law and order must be addressed. These concerns were also raised by the governor of East Sepik, Alan Bed, stating that the government should take law and order seriously. Prime Minister James Marape assured the nation that the issue of law and order will be looked at.
Our government is very serious about law and order, as indicated in the manner in which we have restructured. We have restructured our portfolio. Minister that is responsible for the law and order sector. In fact, we brought in police and CIS under one minister. We named it the Internal Security Minister to ensure that the left and right hand of law enforcement and rehabilitation of those who are caught is made easier by one minister having an oversight.
Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
Police hierarchy has taken stringent measures aimed at combating violence in NCD.
In the wake of the recent rise in ethnic clashes in the nation's capital, police has taken measures to support operational plans and strategies currently undertaken by the NCD's Central Command.
Residents and business houses alike have raised concerns on the recent spike in law and order issues in the nation's capital. In the wake of the recent upsurge of ethnic clashes in NCD, the police hierarchy has taken interceptive steps to support operational plans and strategies currently undertaken by the NCD Central Command. According to a statement released on the NCD Central Divisional Command media page, a special police operation targeting ethnic violence will be enforced in the city, possibly running into the festive season. Police Commissioner David Manning has appointed Deputy Police Commissioner Donald Yamasombi to be in charge of this special operation. Deputy Commissioner Yamasombi explained that they will utilize the services of support units like the mobile squads, dog units, water police and other units in the police force to beef up manpower in the 3 policing zones in NCD. Yamasombi further mentioned that the Prosecutions Directorate will also make recommendations to the courts for repatriation exercises to be effective on lawbreakers, where they will be repatriated back to their respective place of origin. This will also apply to motor vehicle drivers, as alluded to by Deputy Commissioner Yamasombi. This special police operation began on Friday, 14th October, and will run right through to December. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
NCD Central Commander Assistant Commissioner Anthony Wagambi Jr. has welcomed the Police Commissioner David Manning's plans to mount up police special operations in the city of Port Moresby. Assistant Commissioner Wagambi Jr. said this will ease the burden on the command to allow them to investigate and speed up investigations into murder cases linked to a series of recent ethnic clashes in the nation's capital.
To identify those individuals.
Assistant Commissioner Wagambi Jr. said with the rise in population in the city, ethnic clashes have also risen. This has placed a huge strain on the limited police resources in the city. Wagambi further explained that the NCD Command is waiting to be fully equipped with essential riot gears, which are important items when dealing with riots and mass arrests. This essential deadly artillery was not issued to the NCD Command in a long while. Assistant Commissioner Wagambi Jr. added that the NCD Command stands ready to support the initiative taken by the Police Commissioner in attempts to curb law and order issues, especially ethnic clashes and other related issues. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
Governor for Southern Highlands, William Powie, has asked the Minister responsible for petroleum and energy, Karen Gakua, to clarify to the people of Southern Highlands whether their legacy issue have been addressed. Governor Powie said he had written a letter to the National Security of Commission and the Department of Petroleum and Energy and is still waiting for their reply.
Governor Powie said before Santos take over oil search, the National Security Commission and the Department of Petroleum and Energy had asked those affected in the transition to write to them on legacy issues of significance that affects their provinces and the project area site. Powie said for Southern Highlands, he had written to the Security Commission and the Department of Petroleum stating some legacy issues that needs to be addressed.
That oil search was producing electricity in Kudupu, in oil search area, and none of our surrounding communities were provided electricity. As a, token of appreciation to the community.
The other issues raised are to open an airport in the province to cater for the people instead of travelling to Western Highlands for air transport, and the upgrading of major economic road which have been deteriorating over time. Powie said these issues have not been addressed yet and wants answers from the Commission and the Department of Petroleum.
These legacy issues where company and government talk long right him, na mi present him here, you blow work him something or no got.
In response, Minister for Petroleum and Energy and the member for Sine Yongumul, Kerenga Kua, said he has not received the letter which was sent to his department and the commission, and asked the governor for Southern Highlands to resend the letter to him.
At the same time, this is 4 black questions I'm asking, and put him law 1 black paper, and I'm giving me, and I must answer him good. Law maybe next sitting block parliament.
Cynthia Maku, National, EMTV News.
Telecom Foundation has assisted William A. Junior High School in Yalibu Pangia electorate of Southern Highlands with new desks for the students. The presentation was done on Thursday by representatives from Telecom headquarters.
William Junior High School, located in remote South Wiru LLG, is a newly built school with the first grade 10s expected to sit for exams next year. Representatives of Telecom PNG and the head teacher of William Junior High School signed documents to finalize the handover of 100 desks and 5 teachers' tables with chairs. Telecom Foundation officer in charge Benjamin Moses emphasized the importance of educating young Papua New Guineans. He added that Telecom is a PNG-owned company and Telecom Foundation was established to help improve learning quality in schools.
Long time of beginning, long next generation of this black country, that this black country will carry forward by the next generation, the beginning will stop having black and stuff, school now.
He also called on the teachers, students and parents to take good care of the facilities provided. On behalf of the local community and more than 30,000 people, Ward Councillor Justin Apuka thanked Telecom Limited for its support through Telecom Foundation. He also thanked local contractor Tumini Investment Reality Limited and carpenter Simon Kanga from having quality desk and tables built.
First, you black give me black computer na. Sample something. Now I'm number 2 time you black lawson, you black lots area. Still you black thing me black. So me play no. So me black line no. Me black got sawo. This like I know what part.
The total cost of this support was 56,500 kina. Telecom Foundation has been assisting up to 80 schools in the country so far. Cynthia Maku, National, EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. When we return, we take a closer look at mining sustainability in the country. You're watching National EMTV News. Around the world, governments have often brokered very beneficial deals with corporations to entice them to set up extraction sites on their land. If only this was all there was to it. Too frequently, mining corporations leave substantial environmental and social damage in their wake, with impacts on surrounding ecosystems and communities. Tonight, we take a closer look at mining substantial footprints in PNG and what some mining companies are doing to leave a mark of sustainability.
The government and major developer ExxonMobil have formalized the financial deal for the LNG project.
Equivalent of about 42 billion kina for the project's 70% debt financing component, placing the country on the global financial map.
Mining is often portrayed as a contributor to sustainable development, especially so in developing countries such as Papua New Guinea. Since 1970, several large mines have been developed in PNG: the Panguna mine, Oktedi, Pogera, Lihir and the Ramu mine. Since the early days, environmental standards and social impacts have often been questioned. Bad mining practices lead to mine waste discharged to rivers or oceans, leading to widespread environmental and social impacts to the point of civil war in the case of Panguna and the Bougainville copper mine. The intimate links between indigenous communities and their environment have invariably been underestimated or ignored, leading many to question mining's role in PNG's development. The digital age has signaled a new era for mining when it comes to sustainability. The use of computerized or digital devices or systems and digitized data are designed to reduce costs, improve business productivity, and transform mining practices. With this in mind, delegates from mining and petroleum projects around Papua New Guinea, including government agencies, landowner companies and community-based organizations, were in Port Moresby for the two-day 2022 Community Affairs and Business Development Workshop organized by the PNG Chamber of Mines and Petroleum at the Hilton Hotel. The annual workshop provides an inclusive platform for the resource industry, government, landowner companies and associations, and community-based organizations to discuss initiatives, challenges, and share ideas on community affairs best practices. This year the theme was PNG Resources Securing the Next Wave of Responsible Investment. On the last day during Session 6, former politician and now country manager for Ramoniko, Tommy Tomskol, shared the role of Ramoniko and the role it plays in sustainable initiatives as a responsible corporate organization.
We are committed to protect the environment and mitigate the effects of the climate change and also on the environment. Ramon Nickel operates under a strict environment management plan approved by SEPA and consistent with the environment permit conditions.
Mr. Tomskol emphasized that when it comes to sustainable initiatives, it is the responsibility of not only the mining companies, but the government as well.
The government creates hostile investment conditions. You will, of course, get rogue investors coming into this country. Cutting short, we all know this biblical phrase, you will reap what you sow. So don't come after. You will reap what you sow.
Also in attendance at the mining workshop was Kumu Petroleum Holdings Limited Board Director Mr. Paul Nerau, who has over 40 years of extensive experience working in the petroleum sector, the mining sector, manufacturing industry and commercial business since the 1970s. Mr. Nerau at one time was the managing director of the Bougainville copper mine. He spoke on the importance of building human resources and capacity as this is sustainable for PNG's future.
Mining, like I keep reminding of people about Bougainville copper mine. I think the sustainability, the future is about the human beings, the citizens of this country. That is very important. So in any of our discussions, sustainability means how do our people sustain themselves after the closure of the mines.
Politicians are also weighing in on the issue of sustainability. Concerns were raised in Parliament earlier this week regarding the high cost of oil and gas in the country. Member for Rye Coast and the Vice Minister for International Trade and Investment, Kesi Sawan, questioned the Minister for Mining and Petroleum, Karen Gakua, on whether or not cheaper energy will be made available for Papua New Guineans. Sawan raised questions on whether there will be a reform on the existing Oil Land Gas Act 1998, which he said is not beneficial the people.
Are we going to reform the existing Oil and Gas Act 1998, which is not benefiting our people, and have Papua New Guinea have a fair share in the benefit sharing? Number two issue, Mr. Deputy Speaker, is this. We need cheaper energy to attract foreign direct investment, downstream processing, manufacturing, and moving PNG towards industrialization. What defies logic, Mr. Deputy Speaker, is this. We are blessed with so much energy, oil and gas. We extract, ship overseas, and we import the finished products at much higher cost. And we produce energy to only 13% of our people. So my question to the Minister for Energy is, are you going to provide cheaper, sustainable and accessible energy to Papua New Guinea?
The Right Coast MP further questioned the Minister for Energy and Petroleum if the government will provide cheaper, sustainable and accessible energy to Papua New Guinea. In his response, the Minister for Petroleum and Mining, Karen Gakua, stated that the Oil and Gas Act operates repressively against the people.
Most of us have always taken the view, Mr. Speaker, that the Oil and Gas Act operates repressively against the people of Papua New Guinea and the state. And since the Marape Basil government and now Marape Rosso government has been in office, we have been looking for means and ways to reform the existing statutory regime. The current regime we have under the Oil and Gas Act is a post-World War II regime, which is based on a system called a concession-based licensing system. That's where operators come in, we give them licenses, they make a discovery, and we forfeit our right of ownership to them 100%. And very importantly, we give it to them FOC. Upon receiving that gift, they then sell back a certain percentage back to us. This applies to both petroleum and mining. In mining, there's an option for them to sell us up to 30%, and in petroleum, 22.5%. So what we give them free the other day, they sell it back to us the next day for a commercial price. So what happens here is that when that offer is made, we run off to the banks and we borrow money to buy back that percentage that's been offered. So it's called a buyback scheme. Or from the Papua New Guinea's perspective, you can call it a buyback scam. So it doesn't operate well for us, Mr. Speaker. So if we are right-thinking leaders, we want to maximize benefit out of our natural resources for the benefit of the people of this country, we have to reform this law.
Looking at best mining practices, Oktedi Mine, with 10 years of mine life remaining, is committed to enabling a sustainable future for its 158 community mine continuation agreement communities post-closure. OTML Managing Director and CEO Musewera said, and I quote, Oktedi will be the first big mine to close, and there will be many lessons that will be drawn from Oktedi's experience, not only from the technical aspects of closure, but importantly from the social and sustainability aspects as well. End quote. Mr. Wera added that OTML is developing the social and closure strategy, which will address focus areas as identified in its Vision 2025. These include the following: transfer of public infrastructure assets, for example the maintenance of the Tabubil-Kiunga Highway, to third parties prior to cessation of production, creating alternative income generating opportunities for the CMCA communities, sustaining community programs implemented by the Oktedi Development Foundation, increased national and local content in service contracts, and the nationalization of leadership roles in OTML. Mr. Wera further added that it will be challenging given the mine-related dependencies built over time and the lack of commercial industries operating in the Western Province. OTML funds and operates the mining township of Tabubil, which include the Tabubil Hospital at an annual cost of about 150 million kina, maintains the Kiunga Tabubil Highway at 30 million kina a year, and provides power and water and sewage services in Kiunga at a cost of about 30 million kina per annum. Mr. Wera said, and I quote, "We need to identify new owners that can assume and operate these services well before mine closure so these services can be sustained. Finding the right owners is not easy, let alone the ongoing funding to maintain the service post-closure." End quote. Despite these challenges, the province is privileged to have major development partners such as the government, OTDF, Sustainable Development Program Limited, Incentive Fund, and Innovative Agro Industries who are already implementing sustainable development programs in the province. Mr. Wera said OTML will continue to have discussions with these partners, including the Fly River Provincial Government, to address these challenges. Mr. Wera concluded by saying it is time to ensure the people of the Western Province, more so the CMCA communities, are better off into the future, for they have given their land and waterways to support the development of the country since the commencement of the mine production in 1984. Since 1970, the mining industry has dominated PNG's economy. Mineral exports are gold, silver, nickel, and cobalt. PNG mines are spread across the country. The mining sector is facing a range of competing trends and a rapidly changing global business environment against a backdrop of commodity price fluctuations. The Russia-Ukraine war, miners need to now balance shareholder dividend expectations while maintaining an investment pipeline of increasing operating costs. Safety, environmental and community principles also continue to shape the industry as miners look to achieve their license to operate and deliver on corporate responsibilities and the government's desire for development. In the midst of it all are communities, human beings who will be affected by the operations of mining long after mine closure. These are the ones that will relocate back to the land where the mine once operated.
National EMTV News continues after the break with more stories. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Christians from the Seventh-day Adventist Church throughout the city of Port Moresby gathered at the Bautama Church grounds for a loving memorial service to honor and celebrate the life of President of the Central Papua Conference, late Pastor Kove Tau. Heartfelt tributes were made by representatives from the government, church and immediate family members.
In a solemn memorial service today, hundreds gathered to pay their tributes and last respects to late Pastor Kove Tau.
To shine upon you as you grieve for your loved one.
The country's Chief Justice Segib Salika, who is better acknowledged as Elder Salika in church, said late Pastor Tau served the length and breadth of PNG unconditionally.
He and his wife went straight into the ministry in the Northeast Papua Mission then, now called Northern and Milne Bay Mission, for 2 years from 1988 to 1989.
A fellow Adventist and Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister, Ivan Pomaleu, described late Pastor Kove Tau as a man of fewer words who was more than a brother to all.
And one time we go visit him in the office and we talk. Brother, one little story, one missionary kid, me write him now. Me like him, you come launch him. I am come. He joined me to launch the books that I wrote. We had an occasion, quite unusual, but about 6 weeks ago now, I visited him at his office, but before that I called him. Government was being formed and I wanted to buy a Bible each for the ministers.
The eldest daughter, Cassandra, shared an emotional tribute about her dad.
Dad, it hurts to think that you are not here anymore. Although I can't help but smile with tears in my eyes to think of how we cherished each other every moment of our lives together.
Late Pastor Kove Tau served as church pastor and then as secretary in the Northeast Papua Mission, Central Papua Mission, Morobe Mission, and the Bougainville Mission as its president. He was the president of the Central Papua Conference from 2014 until his untimely death last Sunday. He will be laid to rest at his home in Gabuone village on Tuesday. Late Pastor Kove Tau is survived by his wife Judith, 2 daughters, Cassandra and Kaliendra, and grandson Taj. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
Chiwaka Provincial Health Authority will have 181 staff undergo training by Pacific Institute of Leadership and Governance. Chiwaka Provincial Health Authority made a payment of 182,650 kina to Pilag on Friday for the training, which is expected to commence next week.
Following a road show held in Mount Hagen on Wednesday, Chiwaka Provincial Health Authority wasted no time in ensuring all staff were skilled in public service delivery. Pilag CEO Michael Parobe said the training is required for all sectors of public service machinery.
Is simply to have a qualified workforce, and Chiwaka Provincial Health Authority is very, very important that you have a qualified person to work with you so that your policies, your dreams of the board, down to the CEO, must be well implemented. The important thing is the need of the people are being met. That's what the whole thing is all about. And the Pilags, they're here.
Chairman of Chiwaka Provincial Health Authority Board John Kumi also expressed appreciation that the Provincial Health Authority had embarked on upskilling health staff in the province.
You have taken the initiative to arrange for this program to occur. And you've taken this initiative to induct our public servants, which on behalf of the board, the deputy chairman, the board members, I'd like to take this time.
Meanwhile, Chiwaka Provincial Health Authority CEO Dadius Kina said it was important that health staff in the newly created province delivered quality services to the people. He indicated that up to 400 health staff have been recruited over the last 4 years.
Where is it coming from? It's coming from the workforce. And we must have competent workforce. And that's where Pilag is targeting. So that's something that Chiwaka PG, we want to partner with Pilag. And that is very important.
Thomas Suliambari, National EMTV News.
SME mothers in Bumana Police Barracks have taken advantage of the Northern Suburban League competition to sell their fresh fruits, cooked food and other items. Vendors or market sellers. Rhoda Suma says as a mother, the environment is safe for women nearby to come and do their market. The Northern Suburban Rugby League competition attracted vendors in their numbers to sell their fresh fruits, cooked food and other items. For many of the vendors, the place is more conducive for women and children. Not only this, but according to a vendor, Rhoda Suma, she says the place is safe and secure for mothers and girls.
Especially mothers or young people, Mary Blumpla in Saloya, where we play market now. But feel free, secure inside the barracks.
Police officer Joseph Baundo, he says it's great to see some form of economic activities going on as well as making it convenient for men, women and children.
Mini market lol mama blumibla luya barracks Mary blumibla lo barracks too. Finish na mibla mamas na talk thank you na. Dlagan all must make mosem we all youths na all one must lose thin on drug.
He said mothers and vendors are safe, especially having police presence around. You're watching National EMTV News. Trukai Sports is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The opening game of the Rugby League World Cup last night was played between host nation England and Samoa, saw an outrageous performance by the UK side, which was on display as they thrashed Samoa 60 points to 6 at St. James Park in Newcastle.
Host nation England has sent out a warning signal in their opener match against Samoa, thrashing them with 10 tries, scoring 60 points to 6 at full time at the St. James Park last night.
Here comes the last. They're numbering up on this right-hand side. Well spared, a pass away! Oh, Young's in again!
The Samoan side had to their advantage 6 members from Panthers' recent NRL Grand Final winning team, as well as 2 from the runner-up Parramatta Eels.
First try It's the young Penrith Panther who's finally...
But efforts displayed by England in the second half proved that the match belonged to host nation England, as they dominated the second half with 7 tries, along with 3 tries in the first half.
No, they can score now.
Although the scorelines was not anticipated by the England side coach Sean Wayne, 3 quick-fire first-half tries by Jack Wilsby and Knights winger Young proved otherwise.
Absolutely spectacular!
The first half was a staggering start for the England side in front of the 43,199 fans, but then the Samoan defence gradually cracked as England advanced through.
They're going again here, they're floating forward, Victor Radley with...
Meanwhile, England will prepare to face France on the 23rd of October, while Fiji is scheduled to meet Greece on the 22nd of October in round 2 of the Men's Rugby League World Cup. For those who have missed the match last night, the Rugby League World Cup opener match replay between host nation England and Samoa will be telecasted at 7 p.m. tonight on EMTV free to air. Lisa Puni, Trukai Sports.
And Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports. Still on the Rugby League World Cup, the second match contested last night between Australia and Fiji saw the Kangaroos showcasing throbbing defence against the Fijians as they claimed the win 42 points to 8 at full time. The match was witnessed at the Emerald Headingley Stadium in Leeds last night.
The second match of the Rugby League World Cup saw 2021 rivals, the Australian Kangaroos and the Fijian Batties, meet again, where Kangaroos dismantled the Batties with a 42-8 win in the round 1 of the men's battle at the Headingley Stadium. Although the Batties and the biggest cheers of the night threw tries at the start and the end of the match, the Mal Meninga side threw down a marker to their 2021 rivals last night in North Leeds. The Kangaroos demolished their opponents' Batties with a big win of 42-8 scoreline at full time as they look to retaining their crown, which was defended on home soil in the 2017 World Cup. Following the opener smash between England after thrashing Samoa, the Australian side looks forward to reach the same blockbuster in their upcoming fixtures. Meanwhile, with only 6 days left, the Kangaroos will now prepare to face Scotland in their second match in Brave Hearts, while the Batties will prepare to clash against Italy on the 23rd of October in James Park, Newcastle. Lisa Puni, Trukai Sports.
Northern Suburban Rugby League played its round 2 matches today under the scorching Port Moresby heat with 50-plus participating teams that came from various parts of the city. Tournament manager Felix Atusa said the main aim of the competition is to keep young youth away from illegal activities.
The Northern Suburban Rugby League competition, after off for too long due to COVID-19 lockdown, finally saw its second round of matches played today with 58 participating teams, all coming from various parts of the city. Tournament manager Felix Atusa said it was great to see teams from other parts of the city take part in the competition.
People are like 32 teams, but people are looking at interest in come long over have. As far as Moresby Northwest and Moresby South too, all teams come inside. So we now currently learn 58 teams now participate.
Atusa thanked the police college for allowing the tournament to take place in both fields at Bomana. Since the start of the competition last week, around 3,000 to 4,000 men, women and children have been around to watch the games, let alone players from various teams.
We got him 2 oval, where our Bomana Police College and me also give him me plan. Me use him 2 oval 1, oval 2.
Atusa added that the main aim of the competition is to help youth keep away from illegal activities in the city and to help change their mindset.
So Mipla partner want them Bomana Police College in line of some community policing, so that some kind of area where you need to address him. I'm all policemen, I'm all involved. What is the competition? But this competition is being managed by policemen.
That ends True Kai Sports. The weather report is next. Stay with us.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus. With you always.
Weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby mostly fine, apart from inland brief showers and thunderstorm. Daru cloudy with squally showers and windy. Kerma brief showers and thunderstorm, then partly cloudy. Halatau brief showers, then partly cloudy morning. Popondetta patchy drizzles and partly cloudy morning. In the Momase region, Ley, patchy rain drizzle, then cloudy. Medang partly cloudy. Wewak and Banimo fine. In the New Guinea Islands region, Loringau brief showers and thunderstorm, then partly cloudy. Kavieng brief morning showers and possible thunderstorm, then fine. Kokopo, Rabaul and Buka brief showers and partly cloudy. Kimbe patchy rain, then partly cloudy morning. In the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Mendi and Wabeg, few showers, then morning fog. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait to Daru to Kiwai Island, seas 2 to 3 meters. Waters of Kiwai Islands to Kerma, to Yule Island to Hood Point to Samurai Islands, seas 1.5 to 2.5 meters. Waters of Samurai Islands to Cape Vogel and eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters north of Cape Vogel to Ewan Gulf to Finschhafen, seas 0.5 to 1 meter. Waters of Finschhafen through Whittier Strait to Siasi and Long Island, seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of Long Island to Medang to Wewak to Vanimo and northern PNG Indonesian border, seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of New Ireland to New Britain and Bougainville, seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Ocean forecast, Coral Sea, seas moderate to rough, southeast winds of 20 to 34 knots. Solomon Sea, seas smooth, northeast to southeast winds of 10 to 15 knots. Bismarck Sea, seas slight east to southeast winds of 10 to 15 knots. And Pacific Ocean, seas slight to moderate, easterly winds of 10 to 20 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus. With you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Sunday, 16th of October 2022. The replay of the Rugby League World Cup matches between England and Samoa at 7 p.m. straight after the break, Australia and Fiji at 9 p.m. right here on EMTV. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.